Hey there, folks. So, right into it. What we want to talk about today is the fact that we're governed. Our world at a national and a global level is run by sociopaths. People that are not willing to give up their way of life, and people that are not going to change voluntarily, that are heavily invested in the system as it stands. So they're not going to change anything. Not if they don't have to. So we're run by sociopaths, you know. A very, very clear example of that is the appointment of Theresa May as Prime Minister. She's been placed there by certain corporations and industries in the city and, you know, Wall Street. Those types of power push her. I mentioned Wall Street because the connection is global. And, yeah, so we're run by sociopaths. And the appointment of Amber Rudd as Home Secretary is utterly terrifying. You know, to highlight one example of why is fracking. You know, fracking is a violent industry that rips the earth apart and poison waters and devastates communities. And, you know, we're going ahead with it because big companies, let's take one, Third Energy, they're run by they're owned by Barclays, the Barclay brothers. And, you know, last night in New Mexico, there was a massive explosion at a fracking refinery. Up to 50 lorries caught fire that are full of oil and produced water. I assume that must be contaminated water. And we all know how flammable that is. So they exploded. And another example, methane leaking from these sites at an unprecedented rate. And we know that it poisons and devastates the local communities. But because people are able to make money from it, it goes ahead. We're run by psychopaths, sociopaths more specifically. Another example of that is, and going back across the pond, is, you know, America just released a 28-page report highlighting ties to the Saudis in the 9/11 attacks. And 9/11 is a huge can of worms. And the reason it's a huge can of worms is because the information about it has been controlled and manipulated for so long. And the reality is, the conspiracy is that they knew something was going to happen. They were partially involved, or certain groups within the government were definitely involved in it. And they knew it was going to happen, and they allowed it to happen because it was going to be able to further their neoconservative, neoliberal, fascist ambitions. And they went ahead. And we all know how devastating 9/11 was. But these types of attacks and these types of atrocities happen in other countries every single day of the week, every year of our lives. And we don't talk about it. We don't really blink an eye, really, in reality, unless it is to help reinforce neo-colonialism and neoliberal fascist politics. You know, I want to reference the European referendum again. You know, because I think what was really clever and very manipulative about the European referendum, well, all sorts of things, but one in particular is that we've actually seen massive marches in London in support of the European Union, people wearing European Union flags, people that are consider themselves to be alternative, consider themselves to be wanting to build a better society. The European Union is one of the largest fucking fascist bodies. For people who consider themselves libertarian or liberals or whatever, to be out there wearing badges with the European Union on them is utter madness, complete madness. And that how many people marched, and that highlights the level of control and manipulation in our society, you know. And it's like, what do you do about that? Really, what do we do? The world is run by sociopaths. We're not voluntarily going to change our way of life because we need comfort. It's a basic necessity, love and security. We need these things. and we're all striving to get towards them. The entire premise of advertising is built upon the fact that we're struggling to find warmth and security. And yeah, how do we fight these things? So we're run by sociopaths. People like Theresa May are deliberately positioned in points of power so that they're able to maintain the goals of corporations. Corporations have more rights than you and I, man. It's madness. But we're living in this world, and these sociopaths are getting free reign, and we're unable to stop them. How do we stop them? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. You know, whether we should go out in a march or not. These simple questions, but how do we just stop them? How do we stop them? That is the basic premise.